Hey everyone, my name is ISHA BAH. I'm 24 years old and I marched with the Haddon Heights Color Guard, the Cadets Winter Guard, C2, Alter Ego, and the Blue Knights. And today we're going inside the shot with Chris Marr.
Hey everybody, it's Chris Marr. I'm so excited to have ISHA BAH here with me to go inside the shot and look at some of the awesome work that she's done as a color guard performer. Right, so I first met you through your participation in Haddon Heights guard program, and I guess you started back in 2007. That was before I was doing indoor guard photography.
Fifth grade.
But this would be, I guess, what, junior year for you?
Yeah, that was my junior year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I remember that show as having a lot of fun and emotion and very dynamic, lots of movement. But I don't remember a whole lot about what it was about. So maybe you can kind of just let everybody know what was that show about?
No one really knew what the show was about. We had like a glow ball that we would kind of pass around throughout the show. Right. And it was just, I feel like it was just, good color guard that year. It was just, we like had fun. There was a lot of kids on the floor. I think we had maybe 18 that year, which is big for Haddon Heights. Haddon Heights is such a small school.
Right.
And yeah, that was a really fun year. The year before was like kind of rough. So the next year we just like put it all out there and had so much fun. Yeah. And that was my first WGI experience as well. I'm sorry.
Right. No, go ahead. You came through with a lot of really talented performers. That were part of kind of like your group of people there. So that was I remember that being a particularly great year. So
crazy experiences that year was something else. But yeah, that shot there was a rifle feature where every single member was on rifle, which usually, you have your rifle line, your saber line, your flag line, but everybody was on rifle. So that was really cool. And everybody got really excited during that part of the show, every show. So yeah.
All right. Well, let's look at the next photo from Cadets 2, 2015. The thing I remember about that show, I've always loved that. I feel like it really shows your personality and just your joy of performing, and just putting everything out there that you've got.
Yeah, it's funny that you say that it was a surprise to see me that year, because it was a surprise to me too. I wasn't supposed to march that summer. I ended up filling a hole and it worked out. But yeah, that was my first drum corps experience, C2 that year, and it was so much fun. I remember being so scared going into my first weekend because I knew that all of the Mechanicsburg girls were going to be there, and I fangirled over Mechanicsburg for forever. So I was really nervous, but I ended up, fitting in really well, and it was such a great team, such a cool experience that summer doing DCA, because I've never done outdoor color guard ever. So that was my first anything outdoors. So and also you said about my expression, I think back on like high school days or even that summer, and I would probably cringe at myself watching myself perform because I was so crazy expressive, but just what I felt in the moment. And it's just, that was such a great year. That was like, I think that was the closing flag feature, but spun like flag and rifle the whole show, and that was so much fun. I miss it. I miss those times so much.
Right. Well, let's look at the next photo. All right, so you I guess aged out in DCI in 2018 with the Blue Knights, and I remember I usually start my season on the West Coast, and Blue Knights went out west, so I saw you a lot over the course of that summer. You had some nice features in there, and that particular shot, I always loved that shot. I was down low, and I got a really nice angle of you, and a really clear shot at you. Now you said have you remember that shot, or have you seen that shot before?
It's so funny because I remember it was so nice having you on the West Coast, because obviously clearly I'm from Jersey, and then being on the West Coast for all of tour, you start to miss home a little bit. So I remember seeing you at shows. It was always so nice. And I remember I would always be looking at action shots after shows, and I've never seen that picture before, but I love that picture. Thank you. But yeah, I rooked out. So my rookie drum corps season was my last drum corps season, and it was so much fun. But I'm assuming if that was rifle, that would be like during the second number. And that was just a fun show in general. I had a really great time marching the Blue Knights. It was a crazy summer, but it was a great one as well. I made so many amazing memories, that summer. So yeah.
And that show started with you being featured kind of right up front. I remember somebody, like, people kind of lifted you up, and then you had a little feature after that.
Yeah, I was sitting on members of the horn line, which is pretty cool.
Right.
I always felt bad. I was always like, am I hurting you?
Mm-hmm.
And then we spun Eiffels in the beginning, which was the hardest thing I've ever done in color guard in my life. When you spin, obviously you have a lot of technique involved, and so the release point was like a saber, but then it was heavier than a rifle. So it was pretty scary, and it was actually, fun fact, we spun Eiffels for like the entire second number, for like the first half of the season, and then they were like, no, we're just going to switch over to rifles. So you got that picture after we switched over to rifles for the second half. But yeah, I love that show. I loved all the friends that I made. I loved touring the West Coast. It's like one of the most gratifying experiences I've ever had. So I'm really grateful for that.
Well, I'm so glad you had that opportunity to do a year of DCI. That's
yeah,
great.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at the next photo. Cool. I was so excited to see you on the floor because I didn't know you were even performing that year. So what can you tell everybody about what that experience was, performing in a group like Alter Ego, and anything about that show?
Yeah, it was such a culture shock because clearly I performed in, Jersey area, Pennsylvania, like the TOB, Maine circuits for so long. And then I don't know why I was this ambitious when I was younger, but I decided to drive 4 hours to Connecticut every weekend and compete with Alter Ego. And I'm so glad that I did, because I made friends that I'm still friends with to this day. And, it was such a great experience. It's my first world-class experience. Not that year that the picture is from, but this was the next year. So that show was called Blueprint. Wait, I'm like missing out. It was called Blueprint. And it was basically about like staying inside of your comfort zone and what happens in life once you decide to leave your comfort zone, and all the great things that can come out of it. Blueprint 31. So yeah, I had, that was such a great year. Oh my gosh. That was the kind of like that was right after I came out of the comfort zone and got on rifle, and then transitioned to saber and then flag for the ending. But yeah, I love that year so much. That was 2017. Had the best time, made the best friends, and it was just such a great experience.
Well, I'm glad you had that experience, and I was glad I was able to see you.
We didn't see each other a lot. I didn't know that you had a lot of Alter Ego pictures, because we were so far away from each other. So yeah. Right.
Now you made a comment about you never had marched outdoor guard before, and I remember at Haddon Heights you played a wind instrument, but I don't remember what. What did you play for marching band?
I played the baritone in marching band.
That's right.
Yeah,
okay.
Like 7th grade up until my senior year. Yeah, I was never allowed to do color guard, but I sure made sure that I was in color guard for winter guard, definitely.
Right. Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you did, or I never would have met you. So
yeah, right.
It's been a pleasure catching up with you and seeing you and having a chance to talk about these different shots and our time on each side of the camera together.
Yeah, thank you so much. It's so cool. Color guard just brings people together in a way that you would never expect. So it's really, really cool. All right, guys, thank you so much for watching. And thank you, Chris, for all of the amazing photos from over the years. I really value, our friendship that we built this amount of time. And we just went inside the shot with Chris Moore.